I just want to use my home for pets inside my home, but I'm agriculture. So. But if you don't want to fuss.
All right, we'll now call this Madison County Board of Judges Thursday, January the 19th, 2023, meeting to order. I'm glad I called that. You call the roll, please.
Keith Park.
Here.
Mike Navy.
Here.
Charlie Hunt.
Here.
Keith Weaver.
Here.
Ralph Hall.
Here. First item on the agenda is approval of minutes for our last meeting. As everybody look over the meeting minutes, if nobody sees anything, I'll open the floor for a motion.
Make a motion, we approve minutes as written from the last meeting.
I have a motion, or a second.
Second.
You call the roll, please.
Keith Weaver.
Yes.
Charlie Hunt.
Yes.
Mike Navy.
Yes.
Keith Park.
Yes.
Ralph Hall.
Yes. Next on the agenda, we have conditional use for 6039 Battlefield Memorial Highway, Britt, Kentucky. To be a Brandy M. Decker. Is she here? Decker, can you come up here to the stand, please? Please state your name and address.
Brandy Deckard, and it's 6039 Battlefield Memorial Highway, Breda, Kentucky.
Okay, you agree to get truthful and accurate information as it pertains to this case? Okay, sir. Tell us what you'd like to do here.
I'm wanting to get a conditional use permit for my address to start in-home certified daycare.
Okay, just tell us a little bit about
The daycare would be, I believe, for about 6 children, including my own. We're getting, this was our next step in getting certified for that, and we will be looking at about 3 to 6 year olds, basically like pre-K, preschool kind of curriculum.
So you already have your certification that you need to have a daycare?
I'm in the process of it.
When you say 6 children, would you in the future consider more, or is that all that you're?
For a certified in-home, that's the limit.
Okay, and then the 3 to 6 year olds, would you consider doing after school care, or are you wanting to limit yourself to the?
No, not wanting to limit it at all. It's actually 2 to 6. I misspoke. Sorry about that. But yeah, aftercare would be something that we're possibly looking into as well.
Now, does the 6 maximum include your own children
I
too?
have 6.
Or in addition to your
In
children?
addition to my own.
How many do you have?
4.
So that's 10.
10, which is the state's limit for in-home certified is 10.
Without hiring any help.
Correct. Which we do plan on actually hiring a part-time assistant soon, hopefully.
What we grant to you will have conditions on it, and so if you think that you're going to grow or change it, we just wanna make sure that you're not asking for something that's limiting where you might have to come back. So if you are considering, like I said, after school, I just wanted to make sure that we didn't limit it to a child up to 6 years.
Gotcha, yeah, so if you wanted to do 12, 10, 12, that's,
Okay.
What would you?
I just don't exactly know the need for after school in that area, because we don't do transportation as of.
Okay.
What would be what time would people start bringing their children to you?
The hours that we're looking at was 7:30 to 5:30, which it's me, I'm sorry. I do probably the earliest would be probably about 7 to 6, and then the main hours would be 7:30 to.
Pick up and drop off would be probably 7.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that's 5 days a week, I think.
Yes,
Monday
sir.
through Friday.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
Still a question. Well, for you, I guess. Since this is not her property, how does that
So the
conditional use?
permit, she should defer If she ever leaves, the permit goes with her, and the
Okay.
new occupant or the owner would have to
Okay,
apply for a new
okay.
permit. Similar to the wedding bar we did, they just
Yeah.
recently changed hands,
Mhm.
so they had to change the permit over to their name. So permit goes with her, not with the property.
Have we had any calls or anything on this, Bert?
We've got to sign up for last week and advertise it in the paper. Let it out to the neighbors.
I see
Talk
they
to
have.
your neighbors.
I really only have like two.
Yeah, you're kind of on an island there on your side of the road, aren't you?
Yeah, cause our property sits at the front of like 70 acres, so.
I see you got a letter from the homeowners.
I do.
That lets off on that one, yeah.
And what I attached to my packet, you'll find in there is the email that she sent me and also where she signed the certified, application for the state.
Okay, gotcha.
So that had her email and her address and all that information as well.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
Is this year round,
Yes.
12 months a year?
Anybody else have any questions for Ms. Decker? Does anybody else here speak on this? If not, I'll open the floor for a motion at this time.
I make a motion, we approve the conditional use permit for the property located at 6039 Battlefield Memorial Highway. The conditional use permit will allow the operation of an in-home certified child care center, provided all applicable state certification has been obtained for up to 6 children, not including the applicant's children, ranging from ages 2 to 12-year-old. Hours of operation will be 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday.
Can I just interject one little thing here? Instead of not only obtaining, but maybe maintaining her certifications, those inspections are done by the state, and if her certification is lapsed through the state, then I think that should be a condition. She needs to not only obtain, but then maintain. Those are renewed. Are they renewed yearly or?
I want to say it's either yearly or every 2 years.
Okay. We just want to make sure that if you were to lose your state certification, that your conditional use permit can go away.
Okay, so I'll amend my motion to provide that not only is the state certification to be obtained, but it is to be continually maintained.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, can you call the roll, please?
Keith Park,
Yes.
Keith Weaver,
Yes.
Mike Madison,
Yes.
Valerie Hines,
Yes.
Ralph Hall.
Yes. Ms. Decker,
So if you want to contact the office, we'll walk you through the next steps, what you need to do to get permit and everything.
Okay.
Okay?
And then so, will I reach out to you? I'm sorry.
Yes,
I was just excited.
yeah, so just give us a couple days to get the paperwork drawn up. We'll call you when it's ready. You'll take it and record it in the courthouse. Once you do that, you know, get some from us.
Well, thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so next on the agenda, we have a conditional use for 388 Pinterest Lane, Maria, Kentucky. We have a Janet Kane. Please come to the stand, ma'am. State your name and address, please.
Janet Kane, 388 Fentress Lane, Berea, Kentucky.
Do you agree to give truthful and accurate information as it pertains to this case? Tell us, Ms. Kane, what you would like to do today, what you're requesting.
I'm requesting to start at what I believe is the first and only pet retirement home for my house. I've thought a lot about senior citizens, and there's usually a time in their lives when they get to the point where they have to go into a retirement home. And I just think about how they have to give up so much, their independence, their home, their belongings, and their pets. And their pets end up going into a system that's already overloaded at animal shelters, or they're euthanized just simply because nobody takes them. So my idea was to allow these people the choice of putting their dog or cat in my retirement home, where I can do Zoom meetings, video chats, send them photographs, write them letters, and have occasional visits where they know where their pet is, they know what's happening to it, they don't lose communication with it, and everybody's happy. It was just just a very interesting idea that I came up with.
Would the pets be housed outside or both
No.
inside and outside?
The key is retirement home. So retirement means they're older animals and home means they're in my home. So I've set up the top part of my home is for my cats. And I'm gonna have a cat room where they get to play, and I'm also gonna do an upstairs enclosed area where they can be outside but contained. And then outside, I have a spot downstairs where all the dogs would be. I have 7 cats and 2 dogs myself right now. I have a lot of land and a lot of usable space, and I'm a professional dog trainer, so I have a lot of qualifications for taking care of everybody. And I've talked to all my neighbors, and this gentleman, he didn't know he didn't have to come. I don't think you're fussing, are you?
No.
He just wondered why was there a big sign on my tree? So he decided to come and check it out. But,
Well, I just wanted to point out, I mean, the reason it was on his tree is because your driveway is it a half mile back?
no, he just lives on my street, but it's not on, it
Which,
wasn't,
what my point is, your house is some,
it's on that
quite a
thing.
bit of distance off the main road.
That's the beginning of my driveway, yes, yes. It was a big sign too. I was quite impressed by
Always
it.
draws attention, so.
It surely
Is
did.
the driveway privately owned by you or how is it?
You know, I think it's paved as a right of way, but we paved it, we blacktopped it, my
There's
neighbors
the-
and I.
The
It's a
circle drive on the
long
pond,
driveway.
that's on.
Right here, right.
Yeah, it's a long
All
paved
the way
driveway.
back down to his center stairs.
Yeah, it goes
So there's
way,
other houses accessed by your drive, correct?
just one other.
One other.
So that's this, is that this 429?
It's over here.
You're over here, right?
Yeah, this one's accessed by it too, right?
And there's one over here that's 30, that one.
This one, and then is this one?
Can I walk up to the map, because it's having, I didn't bring my glasses, I'm trying to see.
Sure, go ahead.
Where's my property? I see a
Right.
pond.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
your circle drive right here.
Let's see.
There's your circle drive over here. See the cursor?
Oh, way over here.
Yeah.
Okay. And where's Centris, up here?
It's just centers, yeah.
Okay, so you have to come down here, it's all paved, and my house is right at the very end.
Uh-huh.
So this is 20 acres of farmland, and all my other neighbors are way up here, quite a ways from me, and my other neighbors down here. So, and I have no intentions of ruining the landscaping anywhere
Do you
here.
own all that?
I own 5 of this, I own this section here. Oops, did I do that?
No.
Yeah, what'd you do?
I don't know. Yeah, I own,
Magic.
I guess it's my finger. There you go, you've highlighted it. Yeah, I own that big section in there where the pond is. And on the other side of the creek is another 50 acres, and I don't know that person at all. And then behind me is a farm of cattle. And everybody else is way up here on the road. So I really don't have any direct neighbors, but the key is the animals are not kenneled outside. It's not a dog kennel. They're not in crates, they're not in cages, they're going to be in my home as a part of a family, and they're gonna get walked 4 or 5 times a day and have play areas outside, so.
How many animals are you gonna limit it at some point of how many you could take in if this takes off really well?
Well, I have a vision. I anticipate taking at least 5 cats, 5 dogs to start with,
Is that not counting yours, right?
not counting mine, no. And I do have a lot of land that I could build on with permission, and I wouldn't know who I would go to do building permits and add, hello there, you're gonna become my new best friend.
So let me just throw this in there. And do you have any kind of, permit or arrangement or agreement with the animal shelter and animal control? I know there is and that's their area, but I know there is a limit on the number of dogs, for kenneling and, boarding and breeding and training, that kind of thing. But you don't have any kind of relationship with them at all. So my suggestion would be that to make sure that anything that she does has their blessing, or any complaints that they receive need to be resolved through them. They handle animal complaints, animal
Is this
welfare.
Madison County Animal Shelter?
Mhm. Yeah, they.
Yeah, I've already spoken to them, but not specifically for
About
permission, but I adopted a dog.
And we can make that one of the conditions that, you have to,
But I'm not gonna be
Apply.
breeding. Yeah, there's no breeding involved.
Yeah.
These are old animals that
Yeah.
just need to live out the rest of their lives safely and
It's not
comfortably.
just about breeding, it's about boarding.
Right.
When you get 10 or 15 dogs, they start barking out there in the countryside travels.
That's,
We will make sure if we're getting complaints that they're addressed, right?
yeah, that is not going to be an issue. I wouldn't
So
tolerate
you
that.
said 5,
5 cats, 5 dogs to start with is what my goal would be, based on the size of my home right now with just limited
So
things that I need to do.
that would be 12 cats and and 7 dogs.
Or do we think that the animal control, animal shelter has some sort of guidelines on how many sheep can have?
They do for, like I said, for boarding and breeding, for what she's talking about, I don't know.
This is new, nobody's doing this,
Yeah.
that's
It
why
would be
it's.
more considered a long-term boarding.
Yeah.
See, the whole
Or-
idea is if, once the person that owns the pet passes away, I've got a 3-step program. Either the family can adopt the animal back into their home, they can leave it in the retirement home until it passes away, or if it's healthy enough, I will adopt it out and find it
It
another
almost
home.
become her animal at that point, right? It's not like a
Yes.
boarding situation.
I control everything, the vet care, the feeding, the
Yeah.
walking, the
Well,
maintenance.
it's a little bit like she said, it's something we haven't dealt with before. I think, like I said, I think as long as she's
But
open to complying with the animal shelter requirements, then
the owner would be responsible for the vet care though,
I am responsible for that.
so you're gonna pay for their dog's
Well,
care.
the
out of
idea for the
your pocket?
retirement home is like a retirement for the person. They will pay a small monthly fee for me to
Oh,
maintain their animal with
okay,
food,
Now,
exercise, shelter, vet,
Okay.
and everything, yes.
in that sense, it is like a long-term boarding, but
Yeah.
it's a kind of a hybrid situation.
Did you say you're a trainer?
I'm a professional dog trainer and an artist.
Where do you,
I started in Canada, that's where I'm
I mean,
from.
where do you do your training?
I don't now because I'm a full-time artist, but I used to
Okay.
I used to work for, well, I did classes at Berea College, I had my own classes at, what is it called, Walnut Meadow RV Park, and then I worked for Richmond Continuing Education, and I did dog training for the University of Richmond.
I just wonder if you had a special permit to do it at your house right
No,
now.
I don't really have time for
Okay.
it anymore, and I want to put most of my passion into this.
Okay.
Because I have a vision of moving, I want Kentucky to be the very first pet retirement home. I don't know of anybody doing this right now. There's cat rescue, there's dog rescue. I don't see anybody combining cats and dogs together as a retirement home where people know where their pets are. Not just taken away and they're gone out of their lives and they have no idea where they are. And I want these people to feel that they have a choice, that they actually have control over something in their life and not have everything taken away from them.
What size is this room that you're talking about holding? Because you're requesting, you already have 7 cats and 2 dogs, you're requesting 5, so 12 cats and 7 dogs. What size of room are we talking, rooms?
Rooms?
Yes.
Right.
The cat.
They've got the whole upstairs of my house, and I don't really know how much square footage it is. There's 3 complete bedrooms.
3 bedrooms.
My 7 cats go outside all day. They only come in at night to sleep.
Okay.
So, but the resident cats, the retirement cats would not have the ability to go out loose. They would have to be in a contained outdoor facility where they would be safe. But I do think that they should be outside at times.
So you have 3 bedrooms upstairs?
You think these bedrooms are like 10 by 10, just guessing, 10 by 15, if you was 8 by 8?
Probably about
Third.
a quarter to a third of this room, each one.
Okay.
But they're not gonna be stuck in just the room, because my idea is to allow them to go into a cat play area. And I'm the only one that lives in this house. It's about 2,500 square feet. There's nobody else that lives there but me. And so I was just willing to share my facility. And like I said, I have space for expansion, but then I don't know who I go to expand, to add on to my home, should I require it. Is that something that I'm allowed to do? Okay.
Bert, this is a long shot, but you don't happen to know the number that's suggested for boarding.
Isn't boarding classified as a short-term thing instead of a long-term? This is
I don't
permanent.
know. Like
I don't
you
know
said, this is
legal language.
unusual, and so
Yeah.
we're just trying to,
Right.
this is the first time we've heard it too, so we're just
Yeah,
trying
but
to-
actually-
Maybe more for outside, like kennelling and that kind of thing too, just to control the noise and the welfare of the animal. I think there probably is some law on, but it's probably gets into a cruelty situation where if you have 10 dogs in a room that's 100 square feet, that's probably a welfare hoarding issue that there's probably laws that I don't know that the number dictates that. I think it's probably the situation. The animal shelter has investigative authority and they have citation power to investigate those kind of things, so.
I wouldn't
Well,
mind
sure.
people coming and spot checking me from time to time too, that's
Yeah.
perfect, it's fine with me. In fact, the owners are allowed to come to the home and walk their dogs around my 5-acre property. You know, if they have a dog or if they wanna sit with their cat and watch a movie for a couple hours and have a cup of coffee, it's a retirement home, it's meant to keep people and animals bonded together. It's not a case of just taking it away from them out of their lives, and I don't know why nobody's doing it, because these people deserve to have some dignity. You know, the only crime is they got old. They just couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle their home, they couldn't handle being independent, and I don't know if you have pets, but they're a huge part of my life. Huge part of my life. In fact, there was a guy on CNN this morning, a retired Navy veteran, who, I'm not gonna get into politics, was caught up with a fundraiser for his dog, and he was never given the money, and the dog died of cancer, and he almost committed suicide because he lost the only thing that mattered in his life was his dog. You know, and they do provide a lot for people. Socialization, they can reduce blood pressure, heart attacks, they give a purpose for life. It's just, I just hate to see these animals go into a system that's overloaded when they could be somewhere special. And I have a vision of having this implemented in every state across this country. It's a big vision, but I'd like Kentucky to be the first one. And it's the only one that I know of. I've done a lot of research, and there is no pet retirement combination for dogs and cats.
How do you plan on getting the word out about your operation?
I'm going to do a blog, I have a website with my art.
You don't have any signage planned or anything like that?
I haven't really gotten that far because I have to start with you, and if you guys don't
We
give it to
usually
me,
try to
then
avoid that if possible, I mean, if you get the word out.
Cause the signage, you're not gonna need a signage out there that an old person's gonna drive by and see
No.
and say,
No.
hey, I'm gonna send my pet there when I had to go into the nursing home. So
no,
the signage is not something that's probably gonna help you to
no, I'm not interested
get
in that.
clients.
Yeah, I'm going to do it more like Facebook, Instagram, articles in the paper, talking to veterinarians if they get a phone call and say, you know, this person has a cat and they have
You
to go
can
into
get a card and put it to your vet
I'm actually
places,
gonna work
or
with the animal shelter
even
too.
at McCready Manor and some of your places like that.
Mhm.
I'm not sure, some of them, I don't
Some
think
places
they
do allow pets.
They allow pets.
Some do,
My mother's in a place that allows pets.
some do.
Yeah, those people can't take care of their pets no more, or they get older.
But I would like the animal shelter the ability to know that if they get a phone call that somebody has 3 cats and they have to go to a retirement home, that they have a place to put them without putting them in the
Well,
Yeah,
system.
and I was gonna say, that might be a relationship that you can establish with the animal shelter, so when you do get a phone call like that, they say, hey, Janet, do you have any room for a dog?
Exactly.
Is that one that we're gonna have to put up for adoption or?
Have it in every veterinarian in the area.
So,
That is my long-term
point is,
goal.
you can get the word out there where you don't have to do any.
The key is the animals are not gonna be hoarded or in an area that's so confining. Each animal has to have its own quiet space with individual attention. And because I work out of my home, I'm there all the time. And the people get to come and check on them.
Well, and then your experience in the animal training is you'll have to learn how to get these animals to get along with each other from time to time too, as you
Not a
bring in a
problem.
new animal. I've trained and raised dogs all my life, so there is,
Yeah.
you can train animals at all different ages to do different things. Some easier than others. But here in Kentucky, we have a lot of horse retirement places. It's a big thing where they
Rescue, yeah.
rescue.
The word rescue, a lot with bigger large animals than it is.
Well, there's a lot of retirements, I've seen them over
This
there.
is where I got the idea from.
Yeah.
The Kentucky Retirement Horse Farm is where I got the idea from.
Yeah.
Thoroughbred racehorses that are no longer raised, can't be used for breeding, go to a retirement farm to live the rest of their lives in peace and comfort. And that's where that idea came from. And then a dog showed up at my house in September, and I rescued him from the animal shelter. I turned him in and readopted him. And just thought, you know what? It's just something really special and unique. And I think it's a really good service. I think it's a good community service.
My only concern, I guess, is probably, I need to educate myself on it, is just the capacity per square footage. I just need to know. I need to brush myself up on how many dogs per square footage is allowed and things like that, and that's really
Right.
that's really the only hang up I have with it so far.
Well, we was talking about her getting a hold of the animal shelter and find out any regulations and rules that she
But I think
needed.
what you all address that, she stated, she needs to maintain compliance with their regulations.
Or
If she
she
doesn't, if
compliance
they
with-
receive complaints, we have the ability to revoke the permit and.
The business only grows as the property
Yeah.
grows. So I won't take
If
more
you
than I
wanted to
can
grow,
handle.
you would have to
Add
add on
on.
a room or something like that.
Add on a building, add on a
And are you gonna be doing all the maintenance yourself, taking care of everything yourself?
For now,
Okay.
What about you had mentioned that the owner can come visit, do you have some idea of how you're gonna limit like when that can occur?
Just on weekends, because weekdays, I need to work on my art, I need to work on keeping the property clean, maintenance, flowers,
They do
landscaping.
need to be done by appointment, I would think.
It would be done by appointment, and it'd be very limited, because I don't want a lot of traffic filtering through, and not everybody's going to want to do that. Again, we do Zoom meetings, video chats, correspondence through the mail, photographs, letters, telephone. It doesn't have to be in person, but if somebody wants to come and walk their dog, I sure wouldn't have a problem with them coming to the property, going for a walk around the pond, and sitting outside in a gazebo, or sitting out in the backyard where they could be loose and just enjoy their pet. And I think it'd be a really uplifting thing for them to have to look forward to all week. If they knew on the weekends they could come. And it would be set times on the weekends only. Because I don't want the neighbors fussing. Everybody's been okay with it that I've spoken to. Nobody has a problem. And as far as the square footage and the amount of dogs and cats, I would be very conscious of what I can and cannot do. And if the dogs could be loose in my house with my 2 dogs, that's great. But they're not gonna be kenneled in cages.
Yeah, I just
No
don't know the
cages.
guidelines, I just don't want them overpacked in there, and that's something I have on my.
No.
I don't think that she's gonna want them overpacked.
Well, I think we don't have to worry about that, we'll put it within compliance of whatever the, animal shelter says, and that's the way they'll have to go with that.
Can somebody
But
recommend
this is your
somebody?
home, right? You're not
This is
gonna-
my own home that I own, yes, and
So,
the
yeah.
permit goes with me, right? So,
That'd be more of a in-home pet retirement.
Who makes sure she's compliant, us or the pet or the animal shelter?
Both.
Both.
So if they get a complaint and they tell me she's not compliant with their requirements, then we'd have the ability, because that's one of the conditions to the vote for permit.
What if we consider, limiting to 4 dogs and 4 cats, but if the number is further limited by the applicable governing body, then they can limit it further?
I would think that we would, just as, we say that she operates it in compliance with the Madison County Animal Shelter, and then she checks with the animal shelter, seeing what her limits are. That way we don't have to put the limits in the actual motion.
do they change the
What
limits?
if they say there's no limits, that's the only
Yeah,
thing.
that's my concern, because this is in.
Well, you all can put a limit on it, whichever you think the maximum needs to be.
Yeah.
But if she's limited, if whatever you put on as a maximum is more than their requirement, then she's got to file with their
That was
requirement.
what I was.
Whichever is.
Is more limited,
Yeah.
yes.
Now, and I guess that's what I'm looking at too, is she said if they pass away, so she might own them, so then now she's become ownership of one, and that's hers, and then you have, does that open up a window for somebody else to become part of retirement?
Maybe we should have a limit on her personal dog that she can acquire.
I don't think you can do that.
I don't think.
I was gonna have them sign a document from a lawyer that I was going to have drafted up with the requirements that this is what happens when the person dies. The family takes it, the animal remains in the retirement home, and they have to maintain the monthly fee, or the animal is adopted out. But it basically, you're right, I'm become the ward of the animal. I'm the one that takes
I
care
don't
of it
think
and
you need
watches
to
it.
distinguish between her animals or the,
You just told them,
this is the total number.
I'd just like somebody to guide me on the starting number and how we can increase it if it takes off.
Because
And
really, at the
anybody
end of
wants
the
to
day, it
know.
doesn't matter if they're hers or not, it's still,
Right.
it's
Still
still a number of
occupancy.
animals.
Yeah,
Still a number there.
I don't know that we can dictate how many personal pets she can have, that's not.
Sure you can.
can,
Animal shelter does it all the time.
The animal shelter does, but I'm not necessarily.
And that's why we're making one of her conditions that she has to be in compliance.
Just as being in compliance with the Madison County Animal Shelter,
Yeah.
then we don't have to worry about the limits of what they are.
I just go by their guidelines.
as long as they don't exceed hours.
What's your guideline?
If we set conditions of no more than 5 cats and 5 dogs, no matter what the animal shelter says, the most you can have is 5 cats and 5 dogs.
Unless they say less.
Unless they say less, and then they'll reduce that.
What happens if I add on to my home? How do I adjust the amount?
You have to come back and ask for a new permit.
So when we're saying 5 and 5, we're including her.
No, they're not
5
all-
cats, 5 dogs.
New,
That's it.
5 new cats,
No.
new dogs.
Period. You give a number, it's a number.
I'm
Well, she's already got 7 cats. You
confused.
want her to hear it too?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, so that's what we gotta agree with it.
Well, we was talking earlier that maybe 6 dogs and 12 cats.
Yeah.
It's kind of what you,
That's if, yeah, and that's, you're talking 17 animals.
On 5 acres.
It's gonna be.
We're going to have-
staying in your house.
My cats are. My 7 cats are outside all day, and my 2 dogs are in and out of the house all the time.
So then, can we
You can do anything you want because she's asking for a permit to do something that she would not normally
So then we can
be allowed to do.
put restrictions on what can be.
I think you can put restrictions on her permitted business operations. So if these animals she's taking in are subject to that agreement with the retired person or whatever, then they're subject to the terms of this permit. However many dogs she has, if that might become a separate issue, right? That might become a welfare issue or a boarding issue or whatever. But what you're acting on is the
Retirement animals.
that side of the animals that are in her house, right?
Not her.
Now, if at some point she combines those,
Yeah.
right, and it becomes an issue, it won't matter whether she's got a permit or not, right? Because she's over the limit. So I think you regulate what she's trying to permit. Have her make sure she's in compliance with animal shelter regulations, and if she's not, we can revoke the permit.
So what's the number that you think you would be comfortable with?
Not counting your own personal.
Not counting your own.
5 and 5 is really what I wanted to start with.
Okay.
But that's the maximum that I feel comfortably that I could
And you
commit to.
understand if you're successful, this is does well, and you wanna add on, that you'd have to come back and update.
If you wanna do 10 and 10.
I would have to add on to my property and build more
And
facilities.
come back to this board for,
And then come back to the board and increase the number.
So can we agree that the only thing we're putting a limit on is the one that she does not own?
yes, you can agree to that.
Is that right?
Do they become mine when they sign a document or
Okay.
not? Or do I just become like a ward?
That's what we're agreeing on.
Interesting idea, isn't it? You're supposed to stand up and say.
Does anybody else have any questions? Does anybody else here want to speak?
We did have one call on this, it was just somebody inquiring to, what the nature of the business was.
What did you tell them?
What did you tell them?
Okay.
So somebody called about what the sign was.
Yeah, we called the sign, that's right, what's that, cause the sign's pretty generic, doesn't tell you.
Right.
They call you, come
That's
in.
good, that they're concerned.
Yeah, they're just curious what's going on, yeah.
What's going on.
That's all I put the
I've
sign.
done that myself.
Yeah.
Do you wanna put, as far as, do we need to add anything about their visitation?
Yeah,
Motion?
she addressed that.
No signage.
If there's no more discussion, then if anybody else don't have any questions, I'll open the floor for a motion at this time.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve the conditional use permit for the property located at 388 Pinterest Lane, Berea. This conditional use permit will allow the operation of a pet, which is dog and cat retirement home, limited to 4 cats and 4 dogs, at any one time exclusive of the pets owned by the applicant. The animals are to be housed in the home, with the number of, pets to be, no more than 4 cats and dogs, except for if the Madison County Animal Shelter or other governing body has a lower limit, then that lower limit will apply. All conditions shall be in compliance and shall be maintained as required with the Madison County Animal Shelter or other applicable governing body. Pet owners may visit the property on Saturdays or Sundays by appointment only, and there will not be any signage on the property.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
You call the roll, please.
Any question? Did you have a question after your second?
Just,
Question.
I thought we
like
talked
put
about
in there
5.
that she was,
I saw
well,
you, I saw his eye.
She requested 5. So
She
I
requested
put in
that.
there too that if she, reaches a point she'd like to increase that number, she'll have to come back before the board.
Yeah, I think that's given though, and
That's,
yeah, that would be given, cause she'd be outside.
But I thought after she requested 5 and 5, and we was talking about maybe more than those numbers, I thought we would give her the 5 and 5.
We got a motion,
Got a motion.
and we got a second,
Second.
so let's have a vote.
Call the roll, please.
Yes.
Mike Matty,
Yes.
Keith Weaver,
Yes.
Valerie Hine,
Yes.
Ralph Hall.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Kane, we'll be in touch when we get the paperwork ready, you can come out of the office and pick up your permit, and we'll go from there. All right,
Thank you very much.
If you wanna come to the property sometime, just let me know. You're welcome, anybody's welcome to come anytime. It's gonna take you a while to kind of get it organized, and I'm not really gonna commit to this until I get things set up.
I look forward to that.
I like
You have a gallery at your house or?
No, I have a website, and I'm going to encourage all my people that support my art, that when they purchase my art or commissions, they are supporting the Until We Meet Again retirement home for pets, because that's the name of the holiday, Until We Meet Again.
That's wonderful.
So you do commission?
I do commission work, horses, dogs, wildlife, I specialize in pencil, so just janetfineart.com. Google it and work for my house. I'm a little secret in Berea that nobody knows about.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, appreciate it.
All right.
Do we have any good business, Burton? All right, need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Keith Park,
Yes.
Mike Madden, Valerie Hine, Keith Weaver, Ralph Hall.
Yes.
Thank you.
Keep that in me, yes, I don't know why I can't.
Handle it.
Yeah, I thought that.
Until I do the additions, who do I contact?
You can sign any, you know what I'm saying? So, a lot of